Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. 10 Cloverfield Lane. 10 Cloverfield Lane is a 2016 American science fiction, psychological thriller film directed by Dan Trachtenberg, produced by J.J. Abrams and Lindsey Weber and written by Josh Campbell, Matthew Stucken and Damien Chazelle. The film stars John Goodman, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and John Gallagher, Jr. and is the second film in the Cloverfield franchise. The film was developed from a script titled The Cellar, but under production by Bad Robot. It was turned into a spiritual successor of the 2008 film Cloverfield. The film follows a young woman who, after a car crash, wakes up in an underground bunker with two men who insist that an event has left the surface of Earth uninhabitable. The film is presented in a third-person narrative, in contrast to its predecessor's found footage style. It was released in the United States on March 11, 2016, in conventional and IMAX format. The film received positive reviews from critics, with many praising the performances of the cast, as well as the film's tense and suspenseful atmosphere, and grossed $110 million worldwide. Plot. Following an argument with her fiancé, a woman named Michelle leaves New Orleans. Driving through rural Louisiana that night, she hears radio news reports of blackouts in major cities. Her car is suddenly struck and rolls off the road. She awakes chained to a wall in a concrete room. A man named Howard unlocks the door and says he is going to keep her alive. After she unsuccessfully tries to ambush him, he explains that he saved her life by bringing her to his underground bunker, because there has been a massive attack, possibly by Russians, North Koreans, or Martians, and everyone is dead. He tells a doubtful Michelle that she cannot leave, because the nuclear or chemical fallout will poison the air for 1 or 2 years. Once she is calmer, Howard takes Michelle on a tour of the well-stocked bunker and she meets the other inhabitant, Emmett, who found his way there after seeing a red flash outside. Howard shows Michelle to the hatch and through the window points out 2 dead pigs, evidence of the contamination outside. Michelle also sees Howard's truck and regains the memory of it, forcing her off the road. During the trio's first dinner together, Michelle incapacitates Howard and steals his keys to the hatch. As she is about to escape, Leslie, Howard's former neighbor, who has many severe skin lesions, appears, begging to be let inside. Michelle realizes Howard was right and returns the keys. Howard confesses that he had struck Michelle's car in a panic to get to his bunker and took her in. As time passes, the trio begin adapting to life underground, developing a family-like relationship. However, Howard has little tolerance for Emmett, and only perceives Michelle as a little girl. Howard opens up about his daughter, who is not with us anymore. When a ventilator fails, Michelle climbs through an air vent to fix it. Being the only one small enough, she discovers a second hatch leading outside, padlocked closed and with the word, "Help," scratched on the inside. Michelle and Emmett secretly discuss the inconsistencies in Howard's story, realizing that the daughter was actually a local woman known by Emmett who went missing 2 years prior. They realize that he abducted and murdered her. They secretly begin fashioning a makeshift hazmat suit to escape the bunker. Howard discovers several of his tools missing and interrogates Emmett and Michelle, threatening to kill them by immersion in a barrel of perchloric acid. Emmett claims that he was trying to make a weapon to get Howard's gun and that Michelle knew nothing. Howard shoots Emmett in the head, killing him. Howard eventually finds the biohazard suit and becomes angry. Michelle flees, discovering Emmett's body dissolving in the acid. Michelle kicks the barrel over and Howard falls into the liquid, which burns him and ignites an electrical fire. Michelle dons the suit and escapes through the ventilation shaft. Outside, she finds birds flying and removes the biomask. Looking around, she sees a tentacled biomechanical craft floating in the distance, and realizes that the attack was actually an alien invasion of Earth. Suddenly, the bunker explodes from the fire, drawing the craft's attention. Michelle is stalked by an alien creature, and after the craft releases a green gas, she is forced to put the biomask back on. She takes shelter in Howard's truck, but the craft's tentacles pick it up and attempt to consume her. Finding the components for a Molotov cocktail, she throws it into the maw of the craft, which explodes, dropping the truck. Michelle recovers keys from Leslie's body and drives away in Leslie's car. On the radio she hears of successful human resistance efforts, with the eastern coast of North America having been liberated. Survivors are instructed to evacuate north, while those able to aid the fight are directed to Houston. Being at a crossroads, Michelle decides to head for Houston, where lights are moving above the city and larger craft loom nearby. Development. 10 Cloverfield Lane originated from an ultra-low-budget, spec script penned by Josh Campbell and Matt Stucken, titled The Cellar. The tracking board included the script Inc., the hit list of 2012, an annually published list of spec scripts written within the year that have impressed its voting members. In 2012, Paramount Pictures bought the script and commenced further development under Bad Robot Productions for Insurge Pictures, Paramount's specialty label for films with a micro-budget. When Bad Robot became involved, the film was assigned the code name Valencia to keep exact details of the production a secret. Damien Chazelle was brought in to rewrite Campbell and Stucken's draft and direct the film. Chazelle dropped out from directing when his Whiplash project received funding. On April 3, 2014, it was reported production for Valencia was greenlit to begin in the fall of 2014, under the direction of Dan Trachtenberg, with the latest draft being written by Dan Casey. A budget of about $5 million was reported to be expected, in keeping with the mandate of Paramount's Insurge division of producing micro-budgeted films. On July 8, 2014, Variety reported John Goodman was in negotiations to star in the film. On August 25, 2014, they reported Mary Elizabeth Winstead had entered negotiations, and on September 22, 2014, John Gallagher, Jr. reportedly joined the cast. During production, the filmmakers noticed core similarities to Cloverfield, and decided to make the picture what Abrams calls a blood relative or spiritual successor of that film. The spirit of it, the genre of it, the heart of it, the fear factor, the comedy factor, the weirdness factor. There were so many elements that felt like the DNA of this story were of the same place that Cloverfield was born out of, said Abrams. In other interviews he explained, those characters and that monster from Cloverfield are not in this movie, but there are other characters and other monsters, and this movie is very purposefully not called Cloverfield 2. Because it's not Cloverfield 2, so if you're approaching it as a literal sequel, you'll be surprised to see what this movie is. But while it's not what you might expect from a movie that has the name Cloverfield in it, I think you'll find that you'll understand the connection when you see the whole thing. Winstead and Gallagher mentioned that during production they were aware that the film had thematic similarities to Cloverfield, but did not learn that there would be an official connection until they were informed of the chosen title, only a few days before the release of the trailer. Abrams came up with the title after finishing Star Wars: The Force Awakens. In a March 2015 interview, a few months after production wrapped, Winstead was asked about her experience during Valencia, and described it as a really contained film, reiterating the premise of The Cellar about a woman being trapped with her mysterious savior in a supposed post-nuclear fallout world. Later in the month, Insurge Pictures was reported to have been dismantled and its staff absorbed by its parent company. Insurge's only film that had yet to be released was reported to be Valencia. Speaking of rewrites that took place during production, Winstead called them nothing that was major. During an interview with Abrams to promote 10 Cloverfield Lane, he said the creative team behind the original had some ideas on developing Cloverfield 2, but the release of films such as Godzilla and Pacific Rim led them to abandon them as they found the concept of kaiju films played out. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.